We are Heide and David, professional wildlife filmmakers. We bought this Ford Transit for our adventures and now we're planning to customize it. Our aim was to build a simple camper vehicle to travel the world and use it as a base camp for our wildlife explorations. Join us in this video to see the full build time-lapse of our camper van. It all began with stripping the van down and the battle against rust. For us, this build was more than just a hobby. With the deadline of our next filming expedition looming, it became a true test of endurance. We could only work on the van during the weekends or after work, yet we only had about 6 months to make it happen. That meant finishing in record time, on a tight budget, without a garage and with practically no experience in van conversions. Still, we wanted to document the process for ourselves. Once we had removed, treated and repainted a few rust spots, we could finally begin the actual conversion. To do this, we needed to install a sturdy subframe on the floor. It was important to choose the right height right from the start to ensure there would still be enough headroom in the van later on. Next up was the insulation. For this, we used Venue Insulate in various thicknesses. We made a conscious decision to skip additional sound deadening like alubeture, and so far we haven't regretted it for a second. After finishing the floor, we had to move on to the labor-intensive task of insulating the rest of the vehicle. The many cavities and hollow sections of the Ford Transit in particular presented us with quite a few challenges. It took much longer than expected and stayed with us until the very end of the build. Since the old floor was no longer usable, we had to cut a new base plate ourselves. For weight reasons, we decided to go with PVC flooring instead of laminate or wood planks. Before we could lay down the flooring, there was one more thing we wanted to install. Since our van didn't come with a spare tire, we definitely wanted to retrofit one for the bumpy tracks on our overlanding trips. Now we were able to lay the flooring as a test and then glue it down to the subfloor. Without help like my father provided here, we would never have managed to finish the work under such tight deadlines. As filmmakers, electricity is essential on our trips for charging all our batteries and working off the grid in remote areas. That's why we installed a solar panel system on the roof that feeds directly into a solar generator. By the way, you'll find many links to the components and products we used in the video description. We wanted windows on all sides of the vehicle to get a good all-around view, but at first it took some courage to cut such large holes in the van. With the new floor, the insulation and the windows already installed, we had reached the first milestone. Now we could actually imagine that this van would be finished someday. For the first time, our dream of traveling in our own van felt real. For the lower walls, we wanted to add some paneling. We decided to try a temporary solution using lightweight wood and are curious to see how long it'll actually last. Looking back, a bit more framing in certain areas of the walls definitely wouldn't have hurt. To be able to clad the ceiling nicely later on, we needed a framing here as well. In order to follow the curve of the roof and maintain as much standing room as possible, we worked with many small individual pieces. For the interior, we bought flat pack furniture but wanted to customize some of the colors. In addition to the floor, some of the units were to be bolted to the bulkhead. We made a conscious decision to keep the wall in for now for several reasons. For one, the van was still registered as a truck and not a caravan. We also hoped for better air conditioning performance in the cab during the summer. Plus, we wanted the option to work up front while our child is sleeping in the back. Finally, it was time for a first test to mock up the furniture layout. Since we wanted the ceiling framing to be as invisible as possible in the end, we painted it black, even though it felt completely wrong, after finally seeing some light wood tones in the van, only to cover them up, but we haven't regretted the decision. To make the interior feel cozy, we chose vehicle lining felt from Fils Asmussen. We went with a light beige for the walls and black for the ceiling. Black on the ceiling? Yes, you see in a moment why it was the best decision for us. Just like the insulation, the felting process was incredibly time-consuming and turned out to be much more demanding than we had hoped. Especially when it came to the seams, we weren't always able to make the transitions invisible. Despite the struggles with the felt, the progress was really starting to show. When it came to the ceiling cladding, we were especially anxious to see if our idea with the black background would actually pay off. We're beyond happy with the result and think the look is just incredibly cool. Though, I have to admit some of the furniture took a little getting used to. The centerpiece of our camper, of course, had to be a large bed. Since our child joins us on our expeditions, we needed a dedicated kids bed. Tucked away beneath the main sleeping area, we wanted to create a small bunk, a little cozy den to serve as a retreat even in harsh environments. A well-organized storage space for all our camera equipment is essential for our film production. This equipment will mainly be stored in the rear garage. Now, all that was missing was the top panel for the bed and a few final touches before we were set to get started next week. Also found these magnetic sandboard holders with matching boards to be a particularly good solution. They can be attached to the vehicle without drilling. Just a few days before the expedition, we'd finally done it. We put the mattress on the bed, tried it out, and our van was finally ready. This is the result. We are really happy with it. And that's it. That was our 6-month van conversion on a budget. I hope you liked the result as much as we do. If you're interested in the adventures we're going on with our van, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about our conversion, feel free to ask them in the comments, and we're off on a new adventure.